You may recall when the Chinese made a tourbillon movement, it was actually pretty big news, and they were kind of expensive, or at least expensive for a Chinese-made movement. And as time went on, they became more and more affordable, to the point where you can get one for around $500. Now there are Chinese manufacturers that are actually making tourbillon movements that are really well made, really good looking, and there are brands putting them in cases that look phenomenal. Today, I have a brand that's called Arcturus, and they've made a watch that give you very serious de Bethune vibes. This looks like a very expensive watch with an Aventurine dial, some really beautiful elements on the dial as well, and of course a tourbillon movement that you can see from the front and from the back. This is a really cool watch at a very good price. So let's take a look at a tourbillon that's actually affordable, but not only affordable, very good looking. So it's not often that I feature a tourbillon here on my channel. However, this is an affordable tourbillon. It is Chinese made, actually has a movement from Peacock. Peacock are a movement manufacturer in China that are making some pretty amazing tourbillons. They're making some pretty amazing automatic movements as well. This is called Arcturus, and it gets an Aventurine dial, and I think this watch gives off some de Bethune vibes. That cushion case in combination with the bezel is kind of weird and odd, and I like the look of it. You have a stepped bezel, so there's two layers to the bezel. There is a bottom portion that is just a thin layer that goes obviously almost all the way around, and on top of that, it's not a horseshoe, I don't know what you would call it, somewhat of a horseshoe on the top of that circular bottom. You have a sapphire crystal that is cut to match that shape. However, the part of this watch that I think looks the most like de Bethune, besides the case, which gives you some of those vibes, it is the hour track and the minute track. The minute track is on the outside of the hour track. You have a little peak for the 12 o'clock, and then of course the primary indices, which is kind of cool, or at the primary indices. Then you have the hour track. The hour track is domed, and I've seen de Bethune do this in the past. You have the numerals that are carved in. They're actually skeletonized, so underneath you could see the Aventurine dial. So the main portion of this dial is Aventurine, so that's the center portion of the dial. And then you have a little applied logo at the 12 o'clock. It's not really at the 12 o'clock, it's sort of below the 12 o'clock index. Then you have the tourbillon. The tourbillon is right there at the bottom of the dial in case you missed it. And then there's a little surround around that. That is actually screwed in with screws. I think those are real screws. It looks like they are real screws. And then the name of the brand right at the 6 o'clock position. I think this all looks really well thought out. The only complaint that I would have here is that the hands sort of wash out in certain lighting because they are black polished. They are beveled, however, it does wash out. As you can see half of the hour hand right now. You have pretty bespoke hands on here as well. They are pretty cool. So legibility, not the strongest on this watch, but this is really a dress watch and it's a tourbillon. It's meant to look a little bit exotic, so that can be forgivable. The case comes in at around 43 millimeters, so it's a little bit over 43 millimeters, but I don't think it wears like a 43 millimeter case. And then you have a lug to lug of around 49 millimeters. Again, they turn down really well, as you can see. So it's not really that big on wrist. I will show you it on my wrist in just a second. You have a pretty large crown on here and an around 12 millimeter thickness. That's including the display case back, which is sapphire. Obviously, you have a sapphire crystal in the front. You get a blue strap on this one. I'm not sure if the other versions get blue straps as well. However, they have a malachite dial and a few other really cool dials. This one is probably one of the ones that looks the closest to a de Bethune, and that's kind of the reason why I wanted to review this one. But you get to see the tourbillon from the back as well. You have a display case back. Like I said, that is a sapphire crystal. It's half of the case back. And you have a pressed case back, which also has their logo on here. It's beautiful, actually really nice, and it is screwed in. The clasp on this watch is a little bit generic. It has the name of the brand right there. It is a double push button. However, it's nothing fancy. It's kind of off the shelf. So I would like to see a little bit more on this front, because you are getting such a cool, somewhat bespoke looking watch, and you're getting a very generic buckle. So I think that would be my only complaint about the strap and buckle. And there is the LC-2 Aventurine on my 7.5 inch wrist. It really doesn't look like a 43 millimeter or 43 plus millimeter watch on my wrist. I would say it wears like a 42 millimeter watch because of the lugs on here and the shape of the case in general. Because it's a cushion case, it actually wears really well. The movement inside this watch is called the SL5200. It's a flying tourbillon, and like I said, you could see it from the back. Peacock makes some pretty high quality movements, and I've been seeing them pop up through a bunch of different watches that I've reviewed on my channel. Price on this watch comes in at $2,388, which I think is a pretty good price considering you're getting a really nice tourbillon movement in here, Aventurine dial, and a lot of Bethune Looks. So it looks a lot more expensive than it actually is. And I think it looks really fantastic on my 7.5 inch wrist. Tell me what you guys think down in the comments below. I'll put a link to their website. If you guys are interested in this watch, definitely check out their website, sign up with them. Obviously, I think they are coming out with a few different colors. So this is the Aventurine, but I think they're coming out with a malachite dial and maybe just a black dial. I'm not entirely sure. I don't remember all of the versions that they're coming out with, but this is probably my favorite because obviously I feel like it looks like a Bethune. I keep on bringing that up because I really do love their watches, and I think this looks very close to that. Tell me what you guys think down in the comments below. Obviously, no lume on here because this is a dress watch, and those hands, you have these really sort of bespoke hands. You have a triangular minute hand, and then you have that second hand with that loop in it. Looks really cool and very bespoke, almost like scissor hands, except you don't get the other part of the blade of the scissor. So that's what it kind of looks like, or reminds me of, but I think it looks really good. Tell me what you guys think down in the comments below. Please also don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell icon, super helpful for the channel, and I very much appreciate it. Anyway guys, thank you for logging on. I'll catch you guys in the next video.